Okay, we'll be seeing how to implement a data protection. Data protection means mostly you're talking about backup here. Okay, so how to take backup, virtual machine level backup, a file and folder level backup. Okay, how to set up a backup because when you work in uh, production environments, then it is very like essential to have the backup and maybe questions can also be asked about the backup, how you manage the backup in your organization. So this lab totally relies on that backup part only. Backup part in Azure, how you perform the backup of machines or compute in the Azure. Okay. So for that, there are a lot of instructions in this lab because it's a big lab. So just follow all the instructions from here when you will be replicating what we will be learning as of now. And before that, I'll download that file as well.
For the earlier lab on load balancer, we can download the this parameter.json and template it doesn't from the same location.
There is a file folder folder name files, all files. Inside that you will get all the related files which are mentioned in the lab. Okay. So I'll show you these files for template file. Okay. So what they are doing here is now these are the parameters. So generally what we have seen, ARM template is all about like you can see there is a schema, content version, parameters, variables, and resources. These are the five parts. These are already defined by Azure. You don't have to take care. It just needs to be updated when it is updated on the Azure side. That's it. Second, parameters. So we'll be mentioning the parameters. Like for example, we will be creating a VM here since we will be doing a lab on the backup. So first thing, like what is mentioned, admin username in the parameters. What is the type of that parameter? It's string. Password will be mentioned at the time of creation. Like from the command prompt only, you will be entering the password. So it is a kind of a secure string. Okay. Then VM name prefix. So we have put in the prefix over here. Rest will be taken care, okay, by the ARM template itself. For example, you will be creating two machines. So the name will be like accordingly AZ104 -10 -VM0, then -VM1, VM2, VM3, whatever the number of VMs you need to create, it will be taken care after this prefix. Okay. So remember, whenever you want to create multiple VMs, use this prefix. Okay. Whatever the naming convention is followed in your organization. Suppose we are doing 104, so we are following this convention. Then public IPs. So for the same, you will be following this naming convention for the public IP as the 104.10 PIP. Now, accordingly, it will be mentioned like PIP0, PIP1, PIP2 for each VMs. Similarly, for the NIC as well. So these are what? These are named prefix for VM, for PIP, public IP, for NIC. What image they will be using? Microsoft Windows Server they will be using. Okay. Windows Server, which one? 2019 data center. So image SKU. What is SKU? Storage keeping unit. Okay. So which one they are using? 2019 data center. Which one? Windows Server. Windows 2019 data center. Okay. Be mentioning over here the image SKU. VM size D2S V3 they are using. Virtual network name AZ10410 VNet. Then there will be a VNet address. Okay. Then there will be a subnet as well, a resource group in which you will be creating. So AZ10410RG10 is the resource group. That will be the virtual network resource group. Subnet name, one is subnet 0, which will be having 10.0.0.0/26. NSG name, then comes the variables. Okay. So they have defined the VNet ID, number of instances to be created, one instance mentioned here, one instance. Okay. Resources, these are the resources. What will be created when you will be creating a VM? So network interface will be created. Then in the properties, there will be a IP configuration which will be created, will be kind of a dynamic IP configuration. Okay. IP address will be taken from the public IP in the properties. Then network security group will be created. Then what other type of resources? Virtual networks. So virtual network will be created. Okay. These things you don't have to write down. Okay. These just you can copy from the already mentioned template in the automation. Okay. From there you can copy. Public IP address, then network security groups, virtual machine. So inside the virtual machine, everything will be mentioned. Hardware profile, OS profile, storage profile. So if you will be enabling the diagnostic, then you will be needing storage account as well. Okay. OS disk, standard LRS, network profile. These are all the things over here.
Abhishek, I have a question. This template you get it from Azure only, or is already been available somewhere? Like we need to modify according.
Yeah, I'll show you. Okay. Though I have shown in the first classes as well, but okay, I'll be showing you no issues. Apart from this, there is a parameter template as well. So generally, most of the times we do not edit the template file. Generally, we edit the parameter file. Okay. So just to reuse this template each and every time, what do we use? We make always changes in the parameter file. Just like in other infrastructure as code tools like Terraform also. We do not touch the main.tf file over there also. We make changes in the variables.tf file. Okay. So that template can be reused again and again without changing anything inside the main template. Just change the variables and redeploy the template again. So similar way, we are using ARM templates as well. There is a parameter.json and there is template.json. So this template can be reused for the similar kind of deployments. For example, you get after this, you get the similar kind of deployment where you need to deploy a VM and with a VNet and all these things. Then you can use similar template to deploy. You can make changes in the parameters, name and all those things you can change over there. Let's see.
Abhishek, in company, like we will get this template from our teammates, or like how we have to manage this if
See,
we start doing work, then
see, if you are going in a company, mostly you will get the template because someone might be working on the template. But if someone asks you that please create a template from the scratch, then what you have to do, though I have told you in the first classes only the same thing. I'll show you up. Just give me 1 minute. Okay. Going to the portal again. So for example, as you are asking, like you need to create a VM or you need to create anything. Okay. So there might be already created VMs in portal. It's not like that you will be getting the portal from the scratch. No, whenever you are joining the company, already someone might be working. So there might be templates from the scratch, or if there are no templates and you want to prepare a template, then simply, for example, you want to prepare a template for the virtual machine. For the first time, first instance, what you can do, you can go and try to create a machine from the portal. For example, this is my VM here. Okay, I've given some name, my VM. Uh, Availability zone, we'll choose no infrastructure. Image also I can choose. Suppose I've chosen Ubuntu server here. Okay. Everything else I'll keep as it is default. I'll move to review and create directly. Now, if you go to last, at the last, what it is saying, download a template for automation. Okay, download a template for automation. So for the first instance, when you are trying to create a template, you don't have to write that much of a file, and you want to create number of virtual machines, you can just download the template for a virtual machine from here, and you can make changes inside the template according to you. Like you can edit the parameters, you can edit the variables, you can add the number of instances you want to create inside the for the like with the same template. Okay, so if you click on that download the template, this is the template. So it will automatically create a template for you for creating a VM. For the first instance, you have to do this. Okay. From the next time, you can manage this template. You can save this template for future, and you can keep the variable file as well. And from the next time, you can like make changes in the variable file, and you can use the same template again and again. Or you can change the template as well according to you. Okay. So a general template can be put in, and the same template can be used again and again by making changes into the variable file. So this, sorry, parameter file. So this is the template file, and for the same, this is the parameter file. Now you can see that in the parameter file, what do you see? Location is Central India. Suppose you want to deploy it in East India, East US. So East US. Network interface name is myVM310. You want to change that network interface name. You want to change the NSG name. You want to change any other name. You want to change this NSG rules. You can change. Okay. You want to change the values. Like in the virtual network, you need to edit the address space. You can edit the address space. Subnet address space. You can edit. Subnet name. You can edit. VMIP you can edit. Whether you want it static or dynamic, you can edit. Okay. Public IP address KU, whether you want a standard or advanced, you can edit. Okay. See, all the parameters are there. You will get it in the parameter file. You can edit the parameter file according to you, and you can deploy the template. Got it? How you will get the template?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Check, I have a question. Like in an organization, suppose if you have 10 VMs, you need to use the 10 templates or can be used
No.
modified in
In
this?
single template only, there is a parameter called VM count. Okay.
Okay.
So here, if you can see parameter here, so you just need to add a parameter called VM count here. Okay. So for example, you want, just like you asked the questions, I need to create 10 VMs. Okay. Just go for the template documentation, template documentation. You can search for like VM count parameter for ARM template. Okay, you will get n number of documentations. You can go to those documentation and you can read about the documentation. There you will find each and everything. Okay, how to manage. Now you can see that they have given like parameters like demo string type or integer. So for example, we are in, you have seen in the VM, what parameters do we have? So most of the parameters you can see that those are type of string. So in the documentation, you can see what type of parameters you can keep. So you can keep string, you can keep integer, you can keep boolean, you can keep object, you can keep array. Now, where it will be applied, okay, that is up to you, like how you want to frame that template. So where will be array applied, where will be object applied, where will be boolean applied, where will be integer applied. That you have to like check, right?
Yeah.
Then any kind, how many types of secure parameters we can write. So for example, for passwords, okay, you can use secure string. For secret object, you want to integrate any secret, then secure object. Okay. Allowed values, what are the allowed values? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, like this. Default values, like how you can give the default parameters. Okay. Then these are like, okay, these are for default values only. For example, you want to take some, for example, I want to take that my resource should be created in the same location where the resource group is created. So you can take the default value of the resource group like this. Okay. That if you want to define the location of your resource, take the same location, whatever the location of the resource group. So for this, you can use this parameter. Okay. See, you have to take some time and you have to read out the documentation for learning, okay, at least. So then only you can. And you have, most important, you have to practice. Without practice, you cannot perform. Got it?
Yeah. Yes.
So similar way, there is a count parameter also. So if you can see here, storage, no, just a second. Account, no, I want count. Is it count parameter? The other. It will be like VM count, storage count, type will be integer, and the length will be like how many count you want, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Accordingly, it will be like that. Just you can take any parameter like this. Here you can write, for example, here it is written storage account name, and you are creating a VM. So here you can write VM count. Type will be integer. Like this is basic understanding. Okay, you can add it like that. Type will be integer. Since you are giving a count, that will be integer type. Okay. Length of that count, or you can say number, what you can give here is 3, 4, 5, 6. That much of count you can give. Should be there in this document only. Let me find it openly here.
So by count parameters, we can create n number of machines, right?
At a time, parallelly. That you cannot do with the portal. Portal, you can create one machine only at a time. Not only machine, any resource. Okay, any resource. You can create one at a time.
Okay, and let's say we are creating 5 machines, and what about the username and passwords? So every
See,
machine's username and password will be different.
passwords, like you can do one thing. For example, it will ask you. So whenever it will be, for example, it is creating all the machines, so it can give the same password, or whatever password you may enter, it will give the same password. So generally, see, passwords are handled by admins only. Okay, passwords are handled by admins. So later on, what you can do, you can go to the machines. If you want to set it differently, you can go each machine and you can set the password. Okay, that is not an issue. See, count parameters here. See, number of iterations. Okay, how many number of iterations or count you want to create? 1, 2, 3, 4. You can give. I'll share this link. Just check out this documentation. Okay, will take some time. Correct. This is the one. Thanks, Bhagesh. Okay. So there are a lot of parameters like this. According to the situation of yours, like you can act accordingly and check for the parameters and you can apply in the ARM template. Once it is done, once you prepare a template, simply you can, if you are deploying it through the portal, just go to deploy a custom template. Okay, deploy a custom template. Click on that, build your own template. See, by default, it has given syntax here for the ARM template. Okay. Uh, Someone might ask you the syntax for the ARM template. Just give that syntax. Like if they may ask you to write like at the time of interview, then you can use this syntax. Okay, simple. Parameter resources and all. There is one more thing. If you don't want to download the template for automation, there is one more thing. You can add the resources from here. So take a blank template, click on add resources like this. Add. What resource you want to add? So suppose I want to add a virtual machine. So Windows virtual machine. Give the name of the Windows virtual machine. My VM. Storage account is E104. Storage. Give this name. Virtual network is E104-VNet. Okay. Click on OK. See, it has added a virtual machine template. In the same template, if you want to add a storage account, click on add resource. Okay. Already storage account is added. If you want any other resource, then you can add it. Okay. MySQL DB. Give the name SQL DB. Anything like this. Okay. You can add the resources. So whatever resources you will add, it will make template like bigger and bigger. Okay. So like this you can add. But since we already have a template, what we'll do, we'll load the template file. Okay. We'll go to downloads. Our template file is there. I'll load it. Okay. This is loaded. Save it. Edit the parameters file. Load
So
the parameter file.
it will pick up the resource group already, or we can create with this template
If you
resource.
mentioned, then it will pick up, or if it is not, see, it is not mentioned in the file. Then
Okay.
what you can do, you can create from here. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Fine.
it will allow you to create, customize your from here. You can give like, for example, A0104 hyphen RG10 hyphen, and whatever is mentioned, you can take it, or you can take the name which you like. Okay. So suppose in the lab it is mentioned region 1. So I'll take region 1. There is a, you can say, there's a reason why they have taken region 1 here. Since we are working on the backups and we will be replicating the VM into another region. That's why they have taken this resource group as region 1. Okay. So this is in the region 1. Take the same one. Instead of like only RG. Okay, AZ104 RG region 1. Okay. I'll take East US course like this. This is mentioned in the template, so it is automatically filled up as your username. Okay. And since we are not deploying a template from PowerShell or any kind of command prompt, we are deploying it through portal itself. So now we can provide here password. Okay. You can provide any password like this. Next, it will validate the template. If there will be any mistake in your template, then it will not validate. Okay. So it will give error. Now the template is validated. You can click on create. So this will create machine for you. There are a lot of openings coming right now. I think market is good now. If anyone wants to go and try for a new job, you can start applying. Okay.
In Azure admin or in DevOps?
See, my understanding is that like what I follow, I do not wait for completing the things. Okay. Instead, I go for the interview. Even I fail, then also I'll be getting the questions anyhow, what is asked in the interview.
Absolutely.
Okay. So try to go for the interviews, try to attend interviews. Mostly what will happen, you will fail, nothing else will happen. Okay. So at
Yeah.
least you will get an overview what is asked and like how much deep you are in the water. Okay, like this. It will be like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, but we need to create our resume also. So what?
Resume, one class before start of DevOps. I'll take one class on how you can prepare your resume, how you can show your experience, and how you can appear, how you can apply. Okay. All those things I can tell you. Okay.
Yeah,
Since I
definitely.
myself converted my career from like telecommunication to IT. So maybe my experience can help you with that. Okay.
Yeah, same.
That will be really helpful.
Abhishek, I'm applying for the web API and the DevOps. So they are also asking me a CI/CD pipeline configuration. Do
CI/CD
you,
will learn in DevOps. Okay, don't worry about that. Okay. So
because I have
what I
one
mean
or
to
two
say is
interviews
that
lined up next week.
what I mean to say is that don't sit for the completion of the course. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, right.
So start preparing parallelly. Okay. For example, any question is asked out of admin or DevOps. Tomorrow, when you will be learning in the class, suppose you are learning DevOps, you will quickly, you will like, it will click in your mind, okay, this has been asked in the interview. Now I'm learning this. Okay.
We can connect the dots
Yeah,
basically.
you
Yeah,
can connect. That's what. Nothing
that's
else.
right.
Okay.
Sure.
I myself failed in 6 interviews when I was switching my career to DevOps side. So, okay. So, because
And how long did it take for you to get to a confident level,
see, I
Abhishek?
was not taking any class at that time. Like I was talking about 2014-15. So I was not taking any class, or there was very less. Like there was Edureka at that time, but it was pretty much new. And they were asking of like a lot of money at that time, 40,000 something around. At that time, like I don't have that much of like package to invest in that. Okay. So what I did mostly, I took help from, like, since I was working with the DevOps team closely, so they were giving us the scripts to apply and create the servers for migration and all. So most of the things I have taken from them, okay? And like it took me 2 years to completely transform from application support to DevOps side without
Understood.
any class or
Any
something.
classes, any support? Yeah. On
Only
the job learning.
only YouTube and all those things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. Understood. Thank you.
But like for example, if you have good people around, then it will be easy. Like for example, I have one of my friends who was in DevOps at that time only. So he helped me a lot. For example, suppose I was not able to understand anything in the CI/CD pipeline. So I used to ask him, okay, how it will work or like that. So he guided me on some of the things. Rest of the things I have taken care by myself only.
Sure. This is really helpful for us to prepare because we have many people like you wanted to transform into DevOps. Thank
Yes.
you so much for this background.
So I'll tell you in one class before starting DevOps how you can prepare your resume. Okay.
Sure, sir.
And
Thank you.
definitely at that time there was no VR or virtual interviews or something. Okay. So it was very difficult. Like every time you go to interview, physically you get humiliated.
Right. And facing that is really difficult and coming up and standing for yourself and
Mhm.
fighting it back is really, yeah. As you rightly mentioned, virtual interview is very comparatively 60% easy, I would say.
Yeah, one person will be there taking your interview, or two persons will be there. But
Correct.
like believe me, when I was going to interview, there was a panel of 4, 5. They are sitting, coming and sitting. Like if
That
the
itself
interview is
will
in
add a
the
lot of nervousness
if the
to,
interview is in the evening time, then all the people are free. They all will sit and ask questions.
oh, it's like grilling all our experience.
Yes, and like in first or second interview, they like asked me like, "Leave, bro. You are not fit for DevOps and all this." So I took it as a compliment. I think, okay, I'll anyhow I'll do
So,
it.
Abhishek, like, please don't mind it. Actually, I haven't attended the fundamentals class, so I think you have given your introduction, and also I joined directly from first class of admin. Okay, so please don't mind it if you can share your some experience, like which company you are, your profile. Are you? I mean, always in my mind because
Generally,
you always
company
mention you are a
profile,
solution
why
architect.
I do not share because of like this moonlighting issues and all. Generally, I do not share my profile. But mostly,
Okay.
if I give you a hint, I'm working with a auditing company, big auditing company in US. Now,
Okay.
so those who can link, they might be knowing what is the company
So
is.
you are basically a solution architect, or how, like, a position at least
My
you can share, right?
position is technology lead.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Or
Technology.
mostly we work with the DevOps cloud and so like you can say that solution architect level we are working.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
Thanks. Thanks.
there's a team like there are different teams actually which we need to coordinate. Like Terraform team is different, cloud team is different, DevOps team is different, like this.
Okay.
So mostly I'm taking care of DevOps part only. Okay.
Okay.
So there is a team of 15-20 people like who I handle. Now, since VM is created, now what is most important for backup is a service called Recovery Service Vault. Okay. So I'll search for Recovery Service Vault. So whenever someone asks for you how to create backup or something, the main service is Recovery Service Vault. Without Recovery Service Vault, you cannot enable the backups, any kind of backup. So I'll create this in the same region, region 1. I'll give the vault name as AZ104 hyphen RG. Not RG, RSV, Recovery Service Vault hyphen region 1 is the Recovery Service Vault. Redundancy option, let it be whatever it is. Next, encryption. I'm leaving it with Microsoft Manage Key. Vault properties, let it be networking. Allow public access networks. Next. Review and create.
So Abhishek, I have one query. Like in bulk, if we need to remove uh, any resources, we can use the template or
Yes, you can use the template for destroying as well.
okay. Thank you.
Generally, in what we are doing as of now for in our organization is we are using Terraform for that purpose mostly, like for configuration management and destroying resources.
Okay.
So this is the recovery service vault. Now you can see that enable backup or enable site recovery. Okay, and there are two options. So suppose you want to backup any VM, you can go to backup option. There will be two types of backup. VM backup, file and folder, like separate file and folder you want to backup from the VM. Then also you can do it from here. Before that, we'll go to settings here. In the settings, we'll go to properties. If you go down to the properties like backup and site recovery, so there is a backup configuration. So in the backup configuration, click on that. You can update the backup configuration. For example, Here it is geo redundancy. So redundancy option selected is geo redundant. You want zone redundant, you can choose it. Okay. As of now, this is given by default only. Okay. Cross region restore, as of now, it is disabled. Okay. So if you are having geo redundancy, then cross region restore you need to enable. Okay. You need to enable that cross region restore. I'll leave it as default. Second, smart tiering is there. There is one more setting which needs to be soft delete option. Security settings, soft delete option. So there is a soft delete option. Okay. So this should be checked. So enable soft delete for cloud workloads, enable soft delete and security settings for hybrid workload. Since Recovery Service Vault is a service which can be used for the backups, even for the cloud workload, you can back up your on-premise workload also. Okay. So if there is any VM from the VMware or anything, you can back up that as well. Okay. Just you need to install one software over there. Okay. And then you can run this Recovery Service Vault and you can take the VM backup in on-premise as well. Okay. This soft delete retention period option is there. So you can see that retention period. So this is the number of days for which deleted data is retained before being permanently deleted. So Azure has a policy for soft delete. That means here it is mentioned 14. So for 14 days, the deleted data, the deleted backup data will be retained with Azure before permanently deleting it. So even if it is deleted by default or anything happens like that, you can claim that backup back from Azure within 14 days. Okay, that is soft delete option. So retention period till 14 days is free of cost. Okay. So for 14 days, it is free of cost. Whatever additional days you will suppose in my organization, mostly they mention for 90 days. Okay. 90 days. So it will be charged as an extra charges will be incurred. If you want to know what extra charges, then you can go with the documentation. Okay. There you can see what extra charges will be incurred. Okay. Enable.
Oh, I'm
Huh.
sorry.
Yes.
Abhishek, this is Pagesh.
Mhm.
So 14 days soft deletion policies contained only the Azure, the resource data, or that is a pure data, basically. I did deleted some few files
Mhm.
from one of the virtual machine running in Azure.
Mhm.
So that data can be restored within 14 days as a free.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. So drive data,
Now,
basically. Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Now this is enabled. Whatever security setting we are enabling for soft delete here, that will work on the VM level as well. That will work on the file and folder backup as well. Okay. This
Understood.
setting is
Understood.
for both.
Okay.
Can these dates be edited, Abhishek?
What?
The 14 days can be 30 days, made 30 days?
Huh, you can make any 90 days also you can make, but 14 days is free.
Okay. After that, it's pro rata
After
basis.
that, it is chargeable. Yes.
Got it.
Okay. So I'll close this one, whatever is default. So these are the two important settings I'll say. Okay. First one in the backup and site recovery, this backup configuration. Another one is security settings. There is a soft delete option. Okay. Now we'll be configuring virtual machine level backup in this recovery service vault. So I'll go to overview again. I'll click on backup, add a backup here. Where is your workload running? Is it on Azure? It is on Azure Stack Hub. Is it on HCI or it is on premises? Okay. So suppose you are having your own servers running on premises VMs. Okay. Suppose from VMware or any other thing, then you can choose on premises. Okay. If the VM is in Azure, you can choose Azure. Okay. There are two more options you are seeing, Stack Hub and Stack HCI. So actually, this is a service from Azure itself where you can handle number of virtual machines or number of Kubernetes clusters or any kind of compute option. Okay. Mostly VM and Kubernetes only because this works on VMs and Kubernetes, Stack Hub and Stack HCI. So not from Azure, not only from Azure, even from AWS or any other third-party cloud provider or on-premises, all the VMs and all or Kubernetes clusters you can control at one place. Just like, for example, Rancher is a Kubernetes cluster management software. Okay, so you can control hundreds of Kubernetes cluster from using Rancher, but Rancher is a third-party tool. So similar to that, in Azure, we have Azure Stack Hub and Stack HCI. Okay, so where is your workload running? Whether it is in the Stack Hub, Stack HCI, or simple Azure virtual machine, or the machine is running on premises. You can choose accordingly. Okay. So in Azure, what is that? That is a virtual machine. Okay. Now you will be configuring the backup for that. What all option here you get? You can back up a file share. You can back up a SQL DB VM. Okay. You can back up a SQL instance in Azure VM. Okay. That is in preview. Preview means they are testing it. Okay. Later on, they will introduce. As of now, it is a preview. Then if anyone is working on SAP or S4 HANA, so you can have a backup for those VMs as well. Okay. So configure the backup. Now you can see there are two types of backups, enhanced backup and standard backup. Standard backup says it will be only once a day. Okay. One time a day. Up to 5 days operational tier retention. Okay. Then multiple backup per day in the enhanced one. Okay. I think 4 or 5 backups will be there. 5 backups will be there in multiple backups. So up to 30 days operational retention tier. Support for trusted launch Azure VM means the security type you are, if you are using trusted launch, then it is also supported by enhanced one. Trusted launch is not supported in the standard one. Standard security is supported in the standard one. Okay. Trusted launch is supported in enhanced one. Then support for VMs with ultra disk. So if you are creating any VM with ultra disk or premium disk, then also it is supported in enhanced, which is not supported in the standard one. So these are some feature difference in policy types, like enhanced policy you want for backup or standard policy. This also can be asked in the question, like interview. Okay.
Can you come once again, please? I don't get it. Enhanced and standard.
See, in enhanced one, it will be 5 backups per day. Okay. One will be full, rest backups will be incremental backups. Got it?
Okay.
In the standard one, it will be once a day backup. Okay. For example, a backup has been taken for example, you scheduled a backup 3 p.m. Okay. Now, after that 3 p.m., no backup will be taken. Okay.
Okay.
It will be taken next day 3 p.m. only. Got it?
Okay. Okay.
Now,
Got it.
no incremental backup, nothing. Only one backup per day. Enhanced
Okay.
backup, there will be a backup and then there will be followed by incremental backups. Got it?
Okay. 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 I got it.
So mostly for production, you will follow enhanced one only. Okay, not the standard one.
Okay.
Standard one you can follow for dev or QA. Now backup
Okay.
policy. So here it is already default one. So I'll click on create new to show other options as well. So this is the name. Okay. You can change the name. For example, we change for AZ104- backup. Backup is the name. Backup schedule. Okay. What is the backup schedule? So frequency, hourly, daily, weekly. Okay. So suppose we take a daily backup. Time is, suppose it is 12. Let me just a second. Let me select this one. Otherwise, it will be charged. Standard one. Okay. Daily backup. Suppose you can take any time. For example, 12 a.m. or at night or whenever start of the day. You can.
I have one question here.
Mhm.
While taking a backup, is there any performance hit in Azure or it's a separate entity? Like in a standard way, if you are doing any backup activity, that performance get hit on the application level.
So see, schedule a backup at some particular time where your performance might not uh, involve. For example, if your work time is like that, like if your server is, suppose the server is having more load in the daytime, okay, or wherever you are working. For example, suppose nowadays what happens whenever we deploy any application, we deploy in that particular region where the people are using it or where the customers are using it. So suppose I deployed the application in the VM and that VM is placed in a region like Switzerland North. Okay. Most of the customers are from Switzerland North region. Okay. Now take the time zone of the backup for Switzerland North itself. Okay. Now, for example, you know that the traffic will be low at the time, like 12 a.m., right?
Right.
So schedule the backup accordingly. Okay. So that it should not create a
And
problem for the application. Okay.
Okay, this means they have some impact on the backup. Sorry, on the
Impact means
application performance when the backup is good.
no, application performance will be not low, but server will be loaded up. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
server will load up.
Yeah. So response time may get affected. Okay.
so in enhance, Abhishek, this one incremental also we can configure or automatically it will take up.
No, automatically it will take. Okay. Then retention of daily backup point you can see. Okay. Or retain, instant first this one. Okay. Instant restore, retain instant recovery snapshot. So you can retain instant recovery snapshot. Okay. Backup snapshot. You can retain it for 2 days. Okay. What it says here, if the latest snapshot is the only instant restore point available, it will be retained until next successful backup completes irrespective of the snapshot retention set in the backup policy. So for example, your backup policy is once a day. Okay, once a day. So, and in the whole day, you have taken a backup. So that will be retained up for next 2 days. Okay. Until the next successful backup takes in place. Okay. Now, suppose one day there is a backup, then another day there is a backup. Now you have 2 days backup. So in the third day, whatever will be the backup, that will be the latest backup. And the other two backups, like before that. Okay. So the first one will be retained for next 2 days. And then again, the third day backup will be considered as a fresh backup. And then it will be retained for next 2 days. Okay. Like this.
Abhishek, is it kind of the kind of backup, incremental backup kind of?
No, this
This
is
one.
not for incremental. This is not for incremental. Okay. This is for snapshot. Okay.
So you mean only the latest backup will be retained? Right.
It will wait for, see, it depends on you. For example, you need to wait for 3 days. So the
Okay.
third backup will be considered as the latest backup again before the first one. Like we have taken 2 days. So first one is the
Yes, yes.
latest backup now. Now it will wait for the second backup and the third backup will be considered as the latest one then. Then it will wait for the fourth one, then the fifth one will be considered like this. If
Okay.
you take 3 days, then the fourth one will be considered as the latest backup. Okay. So the first
Okay.
one
If you
will
take.
be retained for next 3 days. Okay. Until the fourth one
Mhm.
is taken up.
Okay.
Yeah.
That way, it stays latest, right, Abhishek? The latest stays latest.
Yes. There are some more options if you can see here, retention of a daily backup point. So how many retentional days tier you want? So should you want or you want a 30 days retention period for the daily backup point or retention of weekly backup? So for example, you are taking a backup for one weekly backup you are taking. Like suppose when we configure a backup frequency, it is for daily, weekly and monthly. Okay. In standard, it is daily and weekly. But if you go to enhanced, it is daily, weekly and monthly. Okay. So that daily backup, how many days you want to retain it? Like retention tier, 30 days, okay, 60 days, whatever it is. If you are choosing the frequency as weekly, for how many days you want to retain that backup? Okay. So you can give a retention period of time, 30 days, 15 days, 20 days, 60 days, whatever it is. Since in standard there is no monthly backup point, so these are not this will not work for standard. This will monthly backup retention will only work for standard. Yearly will also work for standard one. Okay.
Abhishek, can you go back to the same configuration?
Mm-hmm.
So that policy, right, for standard tier, it is allowing up to 30 days retention protection. But the standard, right, while you're selecting that standard tier, it doesn't allow you, right, to, okay, if you just look at the back screen, right, the other pane, config backup, yeah, how it would be different then? Up to 5 days operational tier protection, and there is only the 30 days which is available in an
That
enhanced
no,
option.
that is a backup retention.
Okay,
Yeah, that is a backup retention. 30 days operational tier means, for example, in 1 month there are 30 days.
correct.
Okay, so for they are talking about 1 to 30, those 30 days of backup retention. Okay, anyhow they will provide you. Anyhow they
Okay,
will provide you. So that is a kind of, like, you can say that is they are giving you as a standard in the enhanced one. Like standard process, they will retain it for 30 days. For all the 30 days retentional tier, they will maintain a backup for those 30 days. Okay,
so
for suppose you want it for the last month, so they will maintain for that last month for the
it
30 days, whole 30
it
days.
means they will be archived the backups for 30 days. Is it
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. And what here we are talking about, this one is for particularly the daily backup. This we are talking about the frequency, like daily, weekly, and monthly. Okay. So for daily also here they will maintain for 30 days and all like this. Okay. 30, 60, whatever you want, you can maintain for that. Okay.
And you were saying that 14 days will be the free days for the backup, and after that they will charge. So in this enhanced one also they will charge after 14 days. Like if the backup, if we are taking a backup before 14 days.
Yes. Now, full backup frequency, daily 12 a.m. Indian Standard Time, instant restore, retain instant recovery snapshot for 2 days. Instant recovery means if I'll take any instant backup, okay, any instant backup without that backup frequency, I'm talking out of that backup frequency, okay. So that will be maintained for only 2 days, instant recovery, instant backup, okay. Now, retention of daily backup point, retain. Sometimes what happens, you need to stop server or you are performing any kind of patch up. At that time, you take manual backup also, instant backup. Okay. So that is for instant backup and instant restore. Retention of daily backup point, retain backup taken every day at 12 p.m. for 30 days. So whatever you are taking daily backup, that is also maintained for 30 days.
बोला कि सर
Now,
Abhishek, I have one question here.
mhm.
This regarding the backup, like incremental backup will happen after the full backup. Like suppose the 8 a.m. is the full backup. Then
Mhm.
after the full backup will be incremental.
Generally, if you see, it is every 4 hours. Okay. Incremental backup happens every 4 hours.
I mean, it will not consider the full backup, like whatever the time it may be. Like it has
No,
its
at that time,
own.
why it will take full backup? See, on the same day, on the same backup, see, a backup is happening a day, and after 4 hours, again the backup is happening. So, why it will take the full backup? It will take the incremental backup.
Basically, incremental meaning difference between your
Ha,
last
the
backup and
last backup
current
and
backup.
whatever, that backup it will take.
Okay, like
Then again for the next day, it will take the full backup, a fresh backup, and then again the incremental backups, like this.
so when this gonna be held? Like suppose the full backup is happened 2 p.m. I have deleted the data at 2:30 p.m. So shall I go for the full backup? Because if you go for incremental,
Mhm.
it will have only 8 to 2 to 2:30 backup.
Mhm.
So in that case, like I need to go for full backup because
But
whatever
before that,
the
you are having the backup, no? Full backup.
yeah, full backup. Like
See,
Hey, Manjunath, this is Bhagesh. So I think let me explain this, right? The full backups are contains the OS plus data, okay? And the incremental backups is contains only the change was happened, right? I mean, it could be OS or it may be some data. Most probably the 99% it could be a data change only, right? We generally don't make any changes at the OS side.
correct.
So whatever the changes that we made, that changes will be considered as a snapshot and it will be act as the backup for your whole virtual machine data. I hope that makes sense to you, Manjunath.
yeah, somehow I got it because in my organization, it has happened real, like some users have deleted the data and then we wanted to
Yeah,
have
so
a backup. Like,
correct. So once you have, I mean, if somebody might have deleted your data, right? For example, so you have choice, right, to restore that data from your backup and the snapshot. Okay, the snapshot contained only the changes, the recent changes, right, on top of your actual virtual machine, right? So the first backup will be a full backup. The second backup could be the snapshot backup. The snapshot only contained the minimal changes or incremental data changes only. Okay, and after that, if somebody is deleting any data, it can be restored anyway, right, from your backup. It could be a full backup or the snapshot, right? It generally, the consolidate the snapshot full data. That's how. I mean, the snapshot, your full virtual machine backup plus snapshot is equal.
yeah, okay, somehow I got it. I can relate someone. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
No problem, Manjuna. Thank you.
so you can choose the number of VMs over here. Thanks, Bhagesh. Okay. So you can choose the number of backups, sorry, the VMs, whatever you want to backup, you can choose and click on. Okay, you can add the VMs over here. It will validate the VM and then it will add it for the backup. Now you can see that there are options here, disk, okay? And there is an option called include the future disk. So for example, you are adding any disk to the VM. So those disks will also taken under consideration for the backup in this virtual machine. If and only if you are checking that option. Okay. And whatever the disk will be with the VM, it will be mentioned over here. Okay. As of now, since there is a single disk, so you can see that it is showing that single disk. Okay. If there would have been multiple disks, you can check all those disks. Okay. So click on enable backup. What you can do one thing as well, like for example, you can set up the monitoring for the backups. Okay, as you said, like someone deleted the backup, so you'll get an instance alerting for that. You can set up an alert for that. Okay, so once you get the alert, like the backup has been deleted, instantly you can uh, take action. You can recover that. I'm not saying that someone will intentionally delete the backup, but by mistake also someone like maybe delete the backup. So you can set a alert for that, backup alert. So now a backup has been created. Now if you will go to protected items here and backup items. So in the backup item, it will show one count in the virtual machine. If you go to that virtual machine count here, this is the virtual machine. Click on that view details. So as of now, you can see initial backup is pending. Why? Because the backup time we set was that. Okay. So if you want at the time of creating this recovery service vault and enabling the backup, maybe whatever time you set up, apart from that, what you can do, you can backup, you can have a backup now option. Okay. So you can have a latest backup with the backup now option. Since it was a 2 days retentional tier for the like any kind of instant backup, so you can see the date. By default, it is taken 21/3/2025. Today is 19. Okay, so 2 days. Once the backup is done, we'll see alerting as well. How we can set up an alert for backup.
Abhishek, this is Bhagesh again.
Mhm.
So this is, the one simple category of backup generally we are taking of the application server, basically the web servers, application servers. It's
Correct, correct.
simple way to, to take the backups.
Mhm.
While running, the different types of workload like the infrastructure as a service, SQL database servers.
Mhm.
Um, the other category would be the Azure Active Directory backup.
Mhm.
So in those categories, we generally following the traditional way, right? I mean, the Active Directory, the backups, right? It generally taking its own backup consoles in Active Directory. So we taking that backup as per the schedules and we stored somewhere that backups on the
Mhm.
storage account.
Okay.
The similarly, we are running the SQL jobs to, within the SQL server to collect the backups and we store some vault basically.
Correct, correct.
Is that the another way we can leverage the Azure backup to take those category of backups using this PaaS platform. You getting my point?
Can you come again?
See, I mean, in traditionally, right, we are already using the same method to collect the SQL Server backups, right? The
Correct.
SQL Server backups, generally the snapshot is not doable,
Yes.
right? While you're taking the snapshot backup for any databases, there are more chances your database may be corrupt, right? You cannot restore the backup from the snapshot.
Yes.
So similarly, it should be applicable for Active Directory backup.
Yes, correct.
So those types of backups we generally using their native agent, right? The native consoles to take those backups, and we
Yes.
store some safe vault. It
Mhm.
could be our Azure storage account or maybe somewhere else.
Mhm.
So how does the Azure backup could help,
Basically, the
right? As a
PaaS.
PaaS.
Like for example,
Exactly.
you are talking
Yeah.
about PaaS SQL or
Yeah.
okay.
Not the PaaS SQL. The PaaS SQL is anyway there is an option, right? It
Yes.
is
Yes.
we can replicate to the other geolocation. It's
Yes.
easy to manage.
Yes.
Just few clicks and it is work.
Yes.
Now I'm talking about the traditional. Let's say I have this server on virtual machine, okay, in Azure, and I
Mhm.
want to take the backup. And there are multiple disks attached, like the temp.db, the data,
Correct.
and
Correct. Correct.
etc.
Correct.
Right?
Mhm.
So generally, we are running the SQL jobs within the SQL server, and that job generally take the backup, just like
Right.
how in traditional, right, we are
Yes.
taking the backup of the SQL database,
Yes.
and we store right the database somewhere on the Azure storage account, for example.
Mhm.
So that is a process basically that we are following currently.
Yes.
Now, if I need to leverage the Azure this vault basically, okay,
Mhm. Mhm.
uh, can we leverage? Is there any other options we can replace our existing method to taking the backup of SQL Server and the Azure? I'm sorry, the Active Directory server backup uh,
See,
using this.
method is same in Azure as well. If you choose a SQL server here, if you're running in on-premise, you choose a SQL server and you want to maintain the backup, then there is a, you can see an exe application which will get downloaded. You need to download the same application into your that on-premise machine, and there you need to install it. And then you need to like you can configure that application to take the backup from that particular SQL server, and then it will be maintained with the Azure. Method was already same, like you do it in on-premise as well. But then there will be an agent from Azure side as well, which will maintain that you can say process of handling that backup.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not talking about the virtual machine that running in my on-prem. The virtual machine which is running in Azure itself. It is a database server.
Yes,
I
yes.
want to take the backups using the Azure this protection policy, what the vault that you showing,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So I'm saying, is there any specific settings that can replace to our existing policies or process that we are following to take the backup the virtual machine? If no, then probably we can continue what we are doing.
Mhm. I don't think like we are following the same policies like what we are doing for that on-premise one.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll go back, go to the storage account. Is E104 storage account backup. After creating the storage account, you can directly go to the monitoring in the recovery service vault, and there you can add it as a diagnostic setting. You can provide the storage account name. This is for monitoring your backup. Whatever backup we just set in, you can monitor that as well. You can set the alerts. This is the storage account. You can go back to recovery service vault, go to monitoring, go to diagnostic settings. Click on add a diagnostic setting. You can give a name to the diagnostic setting. Suppose logs and metrics. To storage. So Azure Backup, reporting data, and add on Azure Backup job data, add on Azure Backup alert data. Then site recovery you will see, if you, because with the backup you will be enabling site recovery as well. So Azure site recovery jobs and site recovery events both. And then the health. These are some important which we follow mostly. If you want, you can go for all logs as well, but it will like unnecessary burden your storage account. Okay. And then you need to select the archive to a storage account. So this is the storage account already selected from the subscription for the backup. You can select save. Okay.
Hey, Abhishek, I'm sorry to interrupt you again. So if you want to select the log analytics workspace, you won't be notify those events if it is occurred, right? Let's say the health issues or some backup issues, right? You anyway need to choose the log analytics workspace, isn't it?
No, it's not like that. Okay.
Okay, so how we can query, right, the data which is
Yeah.
there in the storage account?
For querying, you need a log analytics workspace, but this is for just like we are setting an alert. So I was just showing for the alert.
Okay. Okay.
For querying, you need to do. Okay. Go to backup jobs, and now you can see here as configure backup is completed, and the backup we did manually, like we clicked on the backup and it's still running. On view details, it will take you to the backup. Snapshot we did was completed. Okay, I'll refresh that. This is a machine, like you can say. This is a machine level backup, what we did just now. Now, to replicate any machine to a secondary region, okay, to a secondary region, we'll create a recovery service vault again. That what we did just now was for backup. This is now for replication. Okay. Replicating a VM to a secondary region for failover, okay, disaster recovery basically. I'll create a recovery service vault. Now I'll create a resource group as region 2 hyphen rg hyphen region 2. AZ104 hyphen rsv hyphen region 2. Now the region will be taken as I'll take West US. Since the first one was East US, I'll take it to West US now. Review and create. Once the recovery service vault is created for the replication, go to the virtual machine and recovery service vault is created. We'll go to the VM. Go to backup and disaster recovery. Go to disaster recovery. So there is an option called enable replication. Target region West US. So this is the basic tab. You can take the target region. For example, we created a recovery service vault in the West US. So target region will be taking West US. Okay. And then you will go to advanced settings here. You need to verify your subscription, the resource group basically. Okay. Virtual network and other settings as well. So now a resource group will be created like for like ASR, Azure Site Recovery. Okay. And a VNet will be created. Whatever you have, you are creating it for, whether you are creating it for availability set or a scale set or a single instance. So since we have a single instance in the form of VM0, we are doing it for single instance. Do you want any kind of proximity placement? If yes, you can still choose it. Okay. So as of now, we don't have any resource for the proximity placement. We'll move to the storage settings. In the storage settings, so we'll be using normal churn since we are using standard disks. Okay. If you are using premium disk, okay, then you can go for high churn. Okay. Cache storage account. Okay. It will be a new. So I'll take whatever is the default name. The disk you can select whatever it should include. Suppose we have a standard HDD. So I'll let it the same. See the replication settings. So in the replication settings, the VM will be replicated in the region 2. The backup will be there in the recovery service vault 2 in the region 2. And replication policy. So you can see there is a 24-hour replication retention policy. Okay. And if you want any extension to be added with the replicated VM, then you can have the extension settings over here, extension details to be mentioned over there. Then move to next. Check the details. This is the source detail, is the destination detail. Okay. And then you can click on start replication. So it will start replicating my VM into the secondary region. Start replication. So it is creating resources now in the target region, that is West US. Okay.
Abhishek, this replication will be done on daily basis. Like if suppose today there is a failover, so then how that backups are going to be replicated in region?
So there will be a task created in a job created in the automation account. I'll show you. You can see there is an automation account created here. So this automation account will be having a job. There will be a script which will every day, like for example, we are taking the backup in the recovery service vault for the primary VM, right? In the same way, it will be replicating and taking the backup every day, and everything will be taken to the secondary region as well. So if at any
Okay.
point there is a failover, then you can use the VM in the secondary region. Okay.
Okay. So and one more doubt, Abhishek. So like whenever we are creating VM, so we are choosing the availability zones, right? So is this backup helping them to is this backup helping the availability zone if suppose any failover is there? Is this the thing? Or
See,
it is a different thing?
whatever settings you have chosen at the time of creation of the VM. Suppose you have opted for availability zone 1. Then in the secondary region also you have been allocated the VM same as like you have created the VM. For example, you have opted for availability region, availability zone 1, then a VM will be replicated with the availability zone 1 option in the secondary region as well. Suppose in the West US. Okay. Will be
Okay.
the
Okay.
same option.
Okay.
See, replication means whatever we have created VM with the settings with all those will be replicated with the VM as well. Okay.
Okay.
Once this is replicated, we will be going to the recovery service vault 2. And like we saw in the backup items, the VM was backed up. Similarly, we can go and check the replicated items. There we should be seeing this VM over there. And the status should be healthy. Okay. So once this is done, we'll check over there. It will take some 5 to 10 minutes to replicate. Sure, Sonu, I'll give you the link. You opted for DevOps or like how? Sonu?
Yes, I opted for DevOps, and I was in another batch. So now,
So
in
you
the
already learned fundamentals in administrator, Azure administrator.
yes, but I was in some other batch. Now I am here in your batch.
Sure. I'll share you the folder. Instead, like what you can do, you can paste your email in the chat. I'll add you right away.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
दोनों देखो कैसे
Abhishek, the resume which you have shared to me, so that is basically towards admin part, or it is a final resume for DevOps?
It is
Because
a
I
final
was,
resume.
Acha, okay.
So once we complete admin, I'll show you, okay? The resume part and all.
Okay, okay.
One more email was there. So both of you will be getting the email now.
Thank you.
Most of the time it takes like what I've seen is 10 minutes mostly, like 10 minutes to set up a replication.
Abhishek, in between, I have one doubt. Like we have two region now, East US and West US. We created backup for East US. So in case of failover to West, so this setting also will be replicated on the West US.
Which setting?
Like backup we created for East US, right?
Mhm.
And we have West US as well now for replication.
Mhm.
Let's suppose in the failover case,
Mhm.
in the West,
Only VM is replicated. Now, if you are using, see, replication is for the time being till when the Azure brings back the service in the primary region. You're
okay,
getting what I'm saying?
yeah,
Huh. So it may be for some time, some period of time. Okay. Some
okay,
minutes or some seconds. Okay.
oh,
Because Azure provides an SLA for
mhm,
something about 90 seconds. Okay. That the
great.
service will be recoverable in 90 seconds.
Mm,
So
okay,
this is just for the suppose some application is being run on your VM and customers are like connected, they are using that particular application. Now that the connectivity should not be hampered or some issue might not happen. That's why we do this replication into secondary region. Okay. But this is not for suppose like you can say that not for 1 or 2 days it will be replicated. No, Azure will bring back the service in the first region. And as soon as they bring back the service in the first region, it will be repointed again to that service only. Okay.
primary location.
Primary location. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, thank you.
Mostly, I think 90 seconds is their SLA, what I've read out. Bhagesh, did you read anywhere? Like, what is the SLA? 90 seconds, right?
Yes.
See, mostly if you are working in a small company, then you might get instances like you need to cover everything. You need to cover, suppose you are a DevOps team member, you need to cover everything. The backup also, the portal also, the DevOps also, everything you need to look into. But if you are working in a big company, then there are so many teams like they are managing each and everything. Suppose like uh, application support team will handle all these things like backup and all those things. Okay. They will be setting up. DevOps team will be handling only deployment and all in big, if you'll go big organizations mostly. Mm.
Mm,
So like when I worked on that first company in DevOps when I switched, so it was a small startup kind of thing. So actually, there we need to do each and everything. All like even we have to connect with the developers and we need to troubleshoot the code as well. Most so all
That way,
things.
your experience will be richer.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. See, down the line, I always I'll always give that to everyone that if you want to learn, then down the line, first first year, second year, third year, or fourth year, work with small companies only or startups. Once you get the knowledge, then go to the big companies.
Right. The
So
raw experience will be very valuable.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Because in big companies, what will happen? You will go to the, for example, you are starting with DevOps and you directly go to big companies. No one will be there to guide you, or no one will be there. You will not be learning anyhow. There will be no pressure, work pressure will not be there mostly. Okay.
Limited set of scope.
Limited set of scope, and no one will even bother whether whatever you are learning or not. Okay.
Correct.
But in small companies, there is a like big work pressure you have. So suppose there are 20, like where I was working, there were a team of 100 people only, 100 people. And in IT, there were only 15, 25 people are there. Okay, only 25. That too, like three, four people, they were looking into the hardware part and all those like networking and all. Okay, on-premise networking and all those things. Then some people they are in the testing part. Some people will be in the development. And whatever burden they will give, they will treat. If you are a DevOps engineer, they will treat you that you can do everything.
Right.
So a lot of you can say you will get an exposure in small company if you want to learn.
Correct.
So Abhishek, like in interviews, but they will not target on some specific topics now. They will target in everything. So for interview point of view, we should know everything, correct?
You should know everything. Depends on how the start. Some like most of the startups I found that they just need the workforce who can do the work for them. Okay. So most of the time they need, because see, some person they are also in need. Startups are also in need because some person who is already having 6 to 7 or 8 years, 9 years experience, what he will think like that I should go to a big company and I'll rest over there. By guiding the teams and all those things, they will rest mostly. They will think like that. And
Yes.
yeah, so most probably whenever you are going to a small company or a startup, you will find freshers only mostly over there. You will not find any guy, or some guy will be there, even one or two guys will be there who are experienced, but they will be on the like topmost level over there. They will not be doing anything. They will be asking you guys or the juniors or freshers to do everything.
Mhm.
Okay. Suppose the like in that company in Bangalore, it opened in 2010. Okay. So 5 years down the line, I start like it was just they completed 5 years. And one guy who was looking each and everything like heading the team and all the members, he joined in 2010. He was the first guy to join that company.
Okay.
And now he's like,
No, because why I asked you this question, like I'm also having experience in different domains, so I will
hmm
portray this experience towards Azure DevOps, right?
hmm
So at that point also I have to think like if suppose they catches or if I'm not able to do the work, so according to that only I have to give the years of experience in my resume and I have to prepare till that level. Like
See,
this we can say.
anyhow, when you will be switching for the first time into this field, you have to do a lot of hard work. Okay. Maybe, because why I'm saying that, because you will not be knowing things, but you have to learn the things. Suppose tomorrow you have to perform something, but you don't know. Then,
Yes,
because
yes.
I myself at that time, I like, suppose I'm starting at 9 a.m. in the morning. Sometimes I have continued till 3 a.m. in the morning, like 9 a.m. to 3 next day, 16 hours, 17 hours. Why? Because very
Same
next
here
day
also.
I have to present something. I have to deliver something.
Yes, yes, yes.
So anyhow, I have to learn.
Yes, yes. Same here because like in which domain I was working, so I was also not a genuine kind of guy. So
This type of like work pressure you will not get in big companies. Like they will, like if you'll go
yes,
to like TCS and all, IBM, and so there are a lot of teams. Like one team they are looking into CI/CD. That's it, nothing else. Only CI/CD. They are creating the pipelines, deploying, that's it, nothing else. Another team, they are just looking into monitoring. A whole separate team for monitoring. They're just looking into monitoring tools only.
In that
Yeah,
kind of
so
companies, Abhishek, do we kind of project ourselves or our profiles in such a way that we are experts of that? Probably if we take certification in CI/CD and learn.
Certification won't help nowadays because down the line, like 3-4 years back, companies do value certifications before. Why? Because it was a trend like thing. Nowadays, like what people are doing, they are just most of the people what they are doing, they are mugging up the dumps and they are like giving the certifications and they are coming because I myself interviewed some people, okay, and they are writing down AZ-104, but when we go ahead and ask something, then like they are dumb, they cannot give the answers.
Right.
Okay, so simply by mugging in, if you are getting certificate, like no one will be nowadays, no one valuing that. But if you have a real knowledge, then even if you don't have the certifications in your resume, then also you will get a job. Certification is necessary. Why? Because when your resume is shortlisted by the recruiters, so recruiters don't have that much of technical knowledge. They will be thinking like that, okay, this guy is having certification, so they will forward your resume. So at that place, your certification might help you.
Okay.
Okay.
But in big companies, can we become like domain expert of CI/CD? For example, you said we'll get to do only the CI/CD example. So can we become experts of it, or no, our profile
See,
will?
Praveen, this is Bhagesh. Let me
Yeah.
answer your question.
Yeah.
Um, see, in IT, right, there would be only the one profile. I mean, the subject matter expert, right? The SME, basically. So in a cloud administration, right? It is a cloud administration. It is for the learning purpose, right? You should have the knowledge what Azure is offering, what services. But out of the total number of services, you need to choose which service that you feel you can perform better, right?
Right.
So if you think you can be a good DevOps engineer, then you should know the everything for the CI/CD pipeline, for example, right?
Right.
If you think you can be a good infrastructure engineer, you should know AZ-104. I mean, not everything, right, in depth, but at least you should know how to set up the network, how to
Right.
set up the backups, and etc. If you think you can be a good automation engineer, you should know all the scripting things, right? I mean, not all the scripting, but at least you should know at least two or three technologies. The Python is booming right now. So,
Right.
and the PowerShell is also good, right? So I think this is how you can, define your profile, what you want to, to go further in the technology side of it. I was also been part of, the recruitment panel from the technical side, and I generally prefer, the people to be perform in a specific technology. If it is a network engineer, I should expect that guy should have the enough working experience and the knowledge in the network setups. And the if it is the architect profile, I should expect, right, he should design the architecture, the infrastructure architecture, the application architecture, something like that. I hope that makes sense to you, right, to everyone.
Oh yes, 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 a lot. Now I am. Yeah.
If you think, right, you can be a superman, you should know everything, the automation, the Azure, the AWS, and everything, network, DevOps, whatever the profile so far, right, in current market in IT. You won't be, focus more than 10% to each specific area of technology. That is for sure. So you just think what you want to be, right, how you want to design your profile, and just push yourself in that direction. If you're a good network engineer, good automation engineer, a DevOps engineer, the way it should be. I hope that makes sense.
Oh yes, a lot. Thank you so much for that, Bhagesh.
No problem, Praveen.
So this is replicated now. In the replication items, you can see replication health is 100%. Synchronization status is 0% as of now. It will get completed in some time to 100%. Once it is 100% sync, then it is good for any kind of if failover happens, or you can test your failover once it is like 100% status is completed. So this is about replication. Okay. If you want to check for the infrastructure view, this is the infrastructure view. This was the machine. Here it was an Azure site recovery. Okay. There was a managed disk which was connected. Okay. There was a storage account. So this was replicated to this site recovery. This was the storage account where all the logs and all will be collected. I think it will take some time to get status to 100%. Once like you will be testing this lab, you can once it is completed the status, you can go for a test failover. You can, okay. Still it will take time. So that is it for today. I'll be deleting this.